Hi Libra, welcome to Yellow Card No Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and Libra, this is going to be a general reading for you. There is no date on this reading, so I trust that when it comes into your feed, it's meant for you. So Libra, we have a really good reading for you today, and it's called It's Time to Be Seen. And this reading is part of a new series that I'm doing here, and it was inspired by a shamanic course that I'm taking right now, and it's called Personal Transformation. So as some of you may or may not know, I've just released a video for the channel that talks about my gift that I've discovered from my own intensive shadow work that I've been doing since 2017, and it is that I have the gift of shamanism, and I am now a shamanic healer. And so I will link the video at the end of this reading, because in that video it explains a bit about my gift, and it also has a special offer for my subscribers for Yellow Card No Tarot. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, you can see it at the end of this video. So in this reading, we're going to be looking at It's Time to Be Seen. And so we're going to be, first of all, using the Curious Travels deck. And then I'm also going to be clarifying, and I'm using this deck for the first time, and it's called Tarot of A.E. Waite. I mean, people would call it Rider Waite, but in particular, it's a deck that I watched a video online. It was like, this is the deck that went with the orange boxes. I thought, because I am a Rider Waite fan. And so this is by A.E. Waite. So I'm going to be using that one for clarifying. And then when I'm done, I'm going to pull you a Shaman's Dream Oracle card. Because it's definitely going to have a shamanic message for you at the end. I'm going to ask for one final message for you, and I'm going to pull a card for you at the end. So we're going to be looking at what part of you is still hiding, because one of the biggest difficult parts of this journey is to, first of all, pull out what's hiding and then become more visible, right? So we're going to look at what needs to come out, what part of you is still hiding. And then we're going to look at what challenges are testing your growth. So what are those blocks? What's going on? Why this won't come out? And then we're going to look at what soul gifts did you come here to share? Now, those three questions were ones that we had to look at in the course. I'm still taking the course. It's a month long. So, and it was heavy just to try to pull those things out where we were cracking our soul open and trying to find out, more of what we came here to share with the rest of the world. And so that's what I'm going to see how this is going to work with these readings. Libra, actually, you're the first reading I'm doing for this. So we'll see. You guys are the guinea pigs for this reading. So let's begin with the Curious Travels deck, and I'm going to ask what part of you is still hiding. So let's have one card for that for Libra. What part of Libra is still hiding? And yeah, we're going to look at the situation. And you have the King of Swords in reverse. That's a wand. It's the wand, actually. I get mixed up with this deck, so I got to be careful with that. So the King of Wands, it looks similar. It looks like a wand. Their wand looks like a sword. So, King of Wands to start off with. What challenges are testing your growth, Libra? One card, please. That one definitely wanted to come out, and it was the Five of Pentacles in reverse. That explains a lot to me already with that card. And what soul gifts did you come here to share? And that's the exciting part. Part of this was really cool when I was doing this course, because some of I journey, right? If you know anything about shamanism, you go into journeys. And so some of the questions I had to go into a journey and get the answer to for myself. And then other times I went with a partner who didn't know anything about me. I've never met this person before. This is all online. And they had to go on journey for me and come back with my answer. So it was quite exciting to think, well, what are they going to tell me? because it tells you a lot actually when someone else goes and travels, journeys for you to get answers for you. So what soul gifts did you come here to share, Libra? One card for that. All right, that took a bit to get out here. Four of Cups. The Four of Cups. All right. So, like I said, I have no idea how this is going to work out, but we're going to give it a go. All right, so what part of you is still hiding? I want a couple clarifiers for this King of Wands, please. Tell me some more about the King of Wands with my new deck that I'm using for the first time with Libra. Okay, I got one more card here. There we go. You have the Nine of Wands in reverse and the Lover's card in reverse. So 3 cards in reverse here. Five of Cups, sorry, Five of Pentacles. Tell me a couple clarifiers, please, for that. There's one and one more. Ooh, well, we got a lot here. Okay, I almost saw like the Tower card came out last. I'm trying to think of what order this all came in. I'm going to keep it. A lot of times I don't, but we'll see. We'll see what it wants to give us here. And the Four of Cups, couple cards for that. One more card. Ooh, some of these want to come out. One more card here. There we go. So you have the Five of Wands and the Eight of Pentacles. All right, when I take a look, the first thing I look at is just to point out some major arcana cards. Those are the big universal forces that are going on with you right now. And so we're looking at the Lover's card, and we're also looking at the Tower card. And I don't want to get too upset about the Tower card, but we're going to explain why. And I really feel like that came out at the end. I feel like there was a little bit of a story here with the 4 cards falling out. But I remember the Tower was the last card that fell out at the end purposely, and it kind of fell out over here. And it's like, okay, this is the story that led to the Tower moment for you. And remember, this is kind of like what challenges are testing your growth. I always see this middle row. I didn't really want to put it there, but I always see this middle row as, you know, what's sitting in your unconscious, what's coming up for healing, obviously, because any of the challenges that we have in our life are what's sitting in our unconscious, our shadow that need to be healed, right, before we can discover what these gifts are for them to come to light, more of it anyway, to come to light. And so we have the Lovers and you have the Tower card. So those are your 2 major arcana cards that we need to pay attention here, right? And everything else around it is going to be give us some more clarity on what these mean. So I'm going to pull out a card for you right now. I won't show it to you until the end, but I'm going to ask this deck to give me, you know, what final word can you give me for Libra's reading? What else does Libra need to know, or what does this apply to? So one card, here it is. Okay, I'm going to pick the top one because I only want the one card. So like I said, I won't tell you what it is, but we'll read that at the end. I'll even put it right down here because knowing me, I will forget. I'll put it right here. All right, so let's start off with what part of you is still hiding. Well, I'm going to tell you now that you have the King of Wands, and the King in my deck represents the masculine part of us. And piece of hair in my eye. And we all have a masculine side of us, and we all have a feminine side of us. And it has nothing to do with gender. And we have these qualities. And in particular, this wand here speaks about our creative purpose. You know, what we came here to do, what direction we're supposed to be going into. So you have this king, your ego self that's coming out and going, you know. I mean, the king doesn't want, let's just get this straight right now. The ego self, our ego self is a very, very scared part. And it's a part that has protected us since childhood. And because it's so scared, it has a tendency to keep us safe. It wants to keep us safe, which means it wants to keep us in this box. And then so if we want to, you know, sometimes branch out of that box and try to do things on our own and start new things and maybe even put ourselves first. And that's all creative, to put yourself first, right? And maybe there's something you know that you want to do. I don't know, but this king, this ego self will say, oh no, don't do that. Don't go there. That's dangerous, because it knows that when you were younger, its memory is always about what happened when you were younger. It doesn't realize that you're an adult now. So it'll be going, oh, don't do that. Oh, no, that's really dangerous. Oh no, because it's so scared. And so you have this part of you that is really keeping you up in your head, your ego self that's saying, no, don't go there right now. So there is something that's hidden here that wants to come out, that, you know, wants to take that step towards your true purpose. But you're up in your head hearing these same messages that you would have been hearing from your childhood about, maybe, like I said, maybe you know what step it is, but if you don't, there's some real fear there. And it's interesting that all of these three cards were in your top row are in reverse, which means there's a real resistance to whatever is coming up for you that wants to make itself known right now, because it's time to be seen. So what is it that wants to make itself known to you? Maybe it's got to do with your next step here. And then right behind your ego self, your masculine that, you know, is petrified, is this Nine of Wands in reverse. The Nine of Wands in reverse is like, you know, it's this card that says, oh, you've been through so much already. It is a card that says, you know, you have, it recognizes that, look how far you've come already. And, you know, I'm not surprised that this ego self is coming out saying, you know, don't look what's happened to you in the past. Look at the stuff you've had to go through already. And, you know, maybe you know that you've had, you know, a tough childhood, or maybe you know that there's been things that, you know, that have happened to you in the past. Maybe you've done a lot of healing. You're aware of your past. But this card is like a reminder, and it says, you know, this is what you've gone through. You know, it's kind of like a recognition saying, yeah, you've gone through a lot. And then the Lovers card comes out. And, you know, the Lovers is an interesting card because it talks about a choice. And interestingly enough, if I turn it up, remember I said it was in reverse, but we're going to turn it upwards here. You have a picture of the feminine and the masculine side of you. Right here they are, right here. Notice how the masculine's staring straight ahead. This is your ego self, right? This is the conscious part of you. And then you have the feminine that's looking up to the divine, right? Because the feminine has these beautiful qualities, and one of them being creativity. And so this card's coming forward here for you. It's saying, you know what, Libra, you have a choice now. Right now, your ego self is really up in its head. And it's telling you that, you know, this creative stuff is bullshit, or even to go towards this, whatever it is you want to do. Don't go there. It's really, really scared. But your feminine side is wanting to come out, the creative part of you. And, you know, when I say that word creative, I don't want you to right away think, oh my God, I'm not creative. I can't do this. I can't do that. Like I said, creativity can mean just putting yourself first and recognizing that, oh my God, there are these beautiful qualities, these gifts that I have that I didn't even know I had. You know, I never knew that I was going to be a tarot reader. I'm a retired teacher of 30 years. I didn't do tarot ever during that time. I didn't know. I only started to realize, I think, what tarot was after I retired. Like it was just not something on my radar. And so this Lover's card's coming out here saying you have a choice here. Like there's this creative side to you that's hiding. Something that you're meant to bring out in this world. And there's a resistance here on your part. And like I said, maybe you know what it is. And sometimes we think we know. And then when it does come out, it's like, wow, right? Like I thought I wanted, when I started to realize that I wanted to do tarot. I want to read tarot. I want to learn how to read tarot. But what I didn't know was there's going to be a twist to it, right? Because I struggled trying to learn these 78 cards. Like I said, I'm a retired teacher, so I got every book I got out there and I wrote out the meanings. I tried to memorize them and I couldn't until I finally applied my own parts therapy that I do with my trauma coach. Until I applied it to my cards, I went, oh my God, these cards make all the sense now. This is my own healing journey that I'm reading. And so this is the choice that you have, is like to go towards your creative side. There's creativity coming out here. Yeah, there's something here for you. Don't let your ego self say she's full of shit, because it will. And because like I said, it's a scared part. And so let's look at what challenges are testing your growth. What's going on? Like why is your ego going, no, don't go here? Because this right here is what it's remembering. This is your childhood. This is you as a teenager. So let's look at, there's a Tower moment in there. So before we get to the Tower moment, you have a Five of Pentacles. And here's this child that's absolutely devastated by this pentacle that's sitting in front of him. It's broken. Have you ever seen a kid break its toy and how they can go into an absolute fit because their toy has broken? This card to me speaks about, you see these two hands right there, you know, they're reaching out, but sometimes I see these hands as, you know, they're kind of reaching out, but they're not reaching out far enough to help this child. And sometimes what happens when we're younger, things happen to us when we try something new, right? Or when we want to do something and we express it to adults around us, whether they're our caretakers or, you know, our parents, teachers, and they tell us, no, sorry, Johnny, not today. Like, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough. Maybe Michael over there, he can do that because, you know, he's better at that. Or there's something there in your childhood where you were shamed for maybe expressing what you wanted to do. I know in my case, I explain it in the video at the end that I talked about at the beginning, where I was threatened to bring out, I had a gift of shamanism and my parents saw it in me, and I was threatened when I was younger to take, you know, don't you dare take that gift out again, because of what they went through, right? It's a lineage thing, and it's a generational trauma thing. So there's something here that says, you know, you were shamed when you were younger. And I think that, you know, it's in reverse here, because I really think when that happened to you, you didn't get the help around you. Like, it shows that, you know, you're not seeing this help. You didn't get it when you were younger. And so this direction and Three of Wands talks about, you know, somebody that really has a plan, wants to do something, you know. He's got this plan. He's waiting for the ship to come in. As soon as that ship comes in, he's jumping on it. He's taking it to go. And that was you. But it got crushed. You know, it's like this is what you put away. This is what you repressed. It was like that plan, whatever it was shut down for you. And then, you know, you heard all these swords talks about our mental thoughts. And it's a card. I was going to say it's a beautiful card to come out into the shadow. And by that, I mean, it has such significant meaning when it comes in the shadow, because this is called the Thief card. And so you have this individual that's running away from a camp with 5 swords in their hand, and they're holding it by the points, right? Like, that's really dangerous. And so you heard when you were younger, who do you think you are? You can't do this. You're not smart enough. You're dumb. Or we don't have any money. And so you ran away believing all that about yourself. All that about yourself. And that's where the shame comes in right here. And for you, and then you have the, well, let's go back to the 7 of Swords. So you ran away with these. And then as an adult, you continue to repeat those in your head because that's what you believe. And I have a funny feeling that this Knight of Wands, this King of Wands right here is repeating those. It's on repeat. It's like you've pressed this button that says on repeat. I'm going to repeat all these things that I heard when I was younger of why I can't do something. You're too dumb. You're too stupid. How many of us think we're too stupid, right, to do anything? Or, you know, we just can't do that because. And then you have a Knight of Wands here. Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Sword, if you look up, look at this knight. The knight is what I call my freedom fighter. Everybody has a freedom fighter, or freedom fighters, these parts of ourselves. It's an adolescent part. And this one in particular is like, look at the determination on this knight's face. That knight that he's holding, that sword that he's holding is the sword of his truth, of his authenticity, right? This is an adolescent part of you where when you were an adolescent, you wanted to be you. You wanted nothing more than to be you, than to be your authentic self. You wanted freedom from people telling you what to do. But that was buried again. That was repressed in your shadow. So it sounds like as a child and even as an adolescent, it's like, no, you can't do this. You were very much shut down, repressed, discouraged. And that's what you're feeling. That's what you're hearing when you're thinking, maybe I want to do this. And you're hearing all these thoughts in your head going, no, you can't. And then the Tower moment came in. This is the second major arcana card. The Tower moment is a major change of circumstance for you. Maybe it has something to do with this, breaking that pentacle, right? Breaking your spirit is what I heard. Like there's something maybe that happened. It could be one incident. It could be many incidents that totally broke your spirit and totally changed the course of direction for you. That's what the Tower moment is. As an adult, if this were to happen now and it comes out anywhere else but this middle row, our shadow row, it would mean, you know, there's going to be a change of direction for you. Well, it came out when you were younger. And so that's a powerful card to come out for you when you're younger. Because it tells me that whatever happened to you was significant. Enough for you to say, I got to put this away. I can't do this. I'm not allowed to do what I want to do. And so I think this is coming up for you right now. And so what soul gifts did you come here to share? What'd you come here to share? Let's see how specific I can get. You have the 4 of Cups, right? And this is an individual that's, notice how they're sitting on their chair, right? I was a teacher for 30 years, and I used to, whenever I saw a student of mine sitting like that in a chair, I had to stop my lesson every single time and say, you got to sit upright, because I just knew I saw something happen. I saw something was going to go, you know, they're going to fall backwards. And so I see this as, you know, you very much, feeling like you're on shaky grounds right here, and are you going to tip over? And I think you must be feeling a lot of the fear right now of what would happen if you started to think about this again, and maybe bring it out again. Like I said, maybe you know what it is. You're feeling like you want to do something for yourself, but you've put that fear away. You see this individual, he has 3 cups right there, and it's like, no, I'm done feeling. I don't want to feel this fear. I don't want to go into my shadow. I don't want to feel that fear that I felt when I was a child, when I was told, put that away. Don't you dare take that out. You're not allowed to. And there's the cup. Do you see the cup right here? And it's the universe saying, Libra, one more try. One more try. Take that cup. I know there's a lot of fear there, but behind that fear are some other emotions there. And that's why we have this big fear. And that's why your ego self is going, no, don't go there, because it's a very scared part. You have a lot of grief that's buried behind this fear that wants to come up, right? Because you were told no when you were younger. Next card that comes out after this fear is a 5 of Wands. And this can be called the battle of the ego sometimes. And they're all comparing their wands, right? And I'm wondering, if that's you. And, this can be a card that I call it my inner critic card, right? We're comparing ourselves to each other. I think it's really time that you stop comparing yourself to other people. When I started this tarot channel, I went on some of my favorite tarot readers and I went, I can't read like them. I can't say what they're saying. Well, guess what? All of those tarot readers read totally different because they read from their experience, their life experience, right? And so, not saying that you're going to become a tarot reader, but it's time that you stop comparing yourself to other people, because we look at other people and see what they can do, and they don't, and we don't realize the journey that it took them to get to where they are. And this card is kind of, saying that, right? You need to stop comparing yourself to other people for this to reveal itself. And so there's a job here that's coming out for you. There's a promise here of, it's a pentacle here. This individual that's working away is very passionate about what he's doing. The universe wants to bring you something that you're going to be very passionate about. It could be something to do with your health. It could be something to do with your job, a new job. There's something here that's going to be revealed to you that's going to bring you a lot of passion in your life. Maybe you're sitting in a job right now going, oh, I hate this job. Like every single day I get up and I just don't, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just wasting all my time every day doing the same thing and it's not giving me anything, right? This card is saying there's something here for you that's going to be, it's like a promise of something very passionate, whether it's a job, like I said, something here for you. And so I wanted a bit more information about, what else is here that the universe can share with you. And so this is the card you have. It's called Straddling Worlds, Wandering Between Realms. So I'm going to read a little bit. I won't read the whole thing, but I'm going to read a little bit about your card. Number 52. The key words here are being comfortable in 2 states, wandering between realms, reinvention. I think of that 8 of Pentacles, that reinvention. So when the Straddling World card shows up, it's an invitation to get used to living with 1 foot in your old world and 1 foot in the new. There's no going back to the way things once were, and what will be is not yet fully here. You must find the delicate balance that can bring you delight as you relish the past and all your memories, along with awe as you glimpse the astonishing and exciting future. Do not wait for applause. Move on quietly, humbly, invisible to others. This card brings an invitation to begin not only a new chapter, but a new book in your life. Do not break the news to anyone. Let people be as surprised as you are as you reinvent yourself. Make sure you are not just a slightly improved and more polished version of a dated and obsolete you. Birth yourself into something original. Do not feel like you have to explain yourself to be understood by anyone. Become a mystery even to yourself. Gaze into the mirror one morning and be pleasantly surprised. Wow. It really does explain a lot because it was a little bit of a mystery down here, right? But I love it. I love this reading for you, Libra. And so I'm going to link the video right here. And this is the video where I offer, tell you a little bit about my shamanic healing, and also there's an offer on there for you. And I want you to have compassion for what you're working through, Libra. This is a very difficult journey, your own personal healing journey, but it's the most important one. So take care and stay safe and grounded, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.